Welcome back to Chapter 1. We're going to start on page 13, the top right corner. Go as far as we can in 15 minutes. Hopefully, that makes sense. We're going to start with modifications and accommodations again because we kind of squeezed them in the last video. Sorry about the lighting on this one. It's late in the afternoon, and doing the best I can with it so you guys have this to work with. I'm going to go back and pick up the terms in the bottom left corner. You have veritable. A veritable is anything that can be changed. Um, a veritable could be changing the light in the environment. A veritable could changing the cushion of a seat. A variable can be removing a person or adding a person to the person. The texture of things, the sounds in the room. Anything that can be changed is a variable. And we'll talk about how those will affect individuals with special needs. Help them be productive or cause them not to be productive. Okay, a task is anything that you would like the person to do. It's a behavior or an act. A task could be picking up your pencil. A task could be writing the letter A. A task could be saying pencil. So a task is something that you desire for them to do. The person, when referred to, is an individual with the special needs. It is anything within that person, of their thoughts, their speech, and so far as compared to environment. The environment is outside the learner. So again, we've talked about the light, the heating, inside, outside, whatever is around them to cause a person to be productive or counterproductive is the same thing that would be considered environment. Then we get back to modification. Remember what I said in the last clip, that modification is something that can be changed on a standardized type test or on a grading scale to make it meet the needs and ability of the individuals, put them on a fair playing field with individuals with typical development. Okay, so modification can be changed to change their grading, their testing, but it needs to be carefully documented so that it's part of the school record and they get credit for it. And accommodation is just changing things to help them be more successful, but doesn't need to be as carefully documented. It could be, again, adjusting the light, changing the rules a little bit on the game, bringing the pitcher closer or farther away, using a bigger ball or a wider bat, having everybody walk fast instead of run. Excuse me, all those accommodations are different from modifications. Okay, then we move on to support services. Support services are things that help the child be successful. One of the support services is a human support, implied that it's a human being, somebody alive that's helping them. They can be essential, they can be professional, it could be a teacher, it could be a bus driver, a lunch person. All of those are human supports that help the person be successful in their setting. And a number of people helping in the human resources, human supports is greatly growing. The opposite of that is non-human supports. It could be anything from a computer or a RAM. A computer can also go under electronics. But non-human is anything that is not a person. The water fountain can be lower. They could be using hearing aids. They have like Dragon Speak, which is a technology now where you speak to your computer and types out things for you. That is a non-human support. You have prosthesis and orthos. Prosthesis is an artificial limb that a person could wear. It's a non-human support that helps the person be more successful in an area. The orthos is a type of a brace. It could be on a hand or an elbow or back, anything on the leg. So they do different from prosthesis. But again, it's a non-human support. Then you have supportive assistive technology devices. Maybe you have electronic wheelchair. You have keyboards now. People who are nonverbal can push, and it will talk for them, get their message across. Because many times in the brain, everything's working right. They understand, but they just are not able to physically speak. There's a technology now that will help them communicate with you more. We're going to move on to the adaptation theory, and we'll probably run out of tape by the time we get to the end of it. You see the theory, the boxes down at the bottom. Okay. So that's called a theory. It's a model. This model covers a lot of area. You have a simple model, which is maybe one or two pictures, or you have a grand model. This is a grand theory of the model, showing how all the stuff we talked about before works together. Okay. So the main theme is self-actualization through adaptive physical activity philosophy, guiding grand theory. How this grand theory works, it pulls all these little theories together. The theory of attitude theories. How do you get people to change their attitudes to help them and the individuals be successful around them? The theory of individual differences in environment and interaction, and how does that add together to the attitude theory, and how does that interact with the service delivery and job function theory? You see all those five pieces together. They can be more than that, they can be less than that. But all those theories come together, complement each other to achieve one goal, which is self-actualization. So, the theory is a conceptual framework that describes, explains, and predicts. A grand theory is pulling all those little theories together. I'm going to jump over to page 15, talk about service delivery. You have a service delivery system that educators you're going to want to use in the classroom, and it is illustrated by the umbrella picture in the bottom right corner, figure 1.4. It's called Piptika because those are the letters that come together. You see how the circle at the bottom, they all go in and out towards each other, and they continually go around. They're covered by advocacy and consultation. So I'm going to cover very quickly what each of those mean. You have the P for planning, including decision making and philosophy. Each teacher should spend an adequate amount of time planning for what they're going to do in that day. Planning for the 8 weeks, for the semester, for the whole year. So planning is an important skill. It also works with assessment. Once you plan, once you teach somebody something, how do you know if you're doing the right thing, if it's being productive? You test. Assessment and testing, which are usually the same concept. So you have planning, you have assessment, and you have preparation, paperwork, meetings, and other things. So this is more grading and smaller things where planning is a real big picture. Peer preparation is the daily preparation. Then you have teaching, counseling, and coaching. All of them basically do the same thing in a different environment. But you have your classroom, you go in, you teach that class. Once you've done the assessment, preparation, the teaching, you evaluate how effective you are, and then replan. So you're not just assessing the student here. When it comes to evaluation, you're evaluating yourself in the program. So the planning and teaching, you got assessment is grading the child and how successful they're being. And then evaluation is evaluating yourself, the program, all of the support systems that go with it. And you start the process over and over again on a daily basis. With the umbrella above them, you have advocacy and consulting. An advocate is somebody who speaks up for somebody else. Often you put in that position, you're the one who's going to speak for your student or individual after they're out of school. Say, this is what that person needs, this is what the person needs to be successful. Many times your hands will be tied because the administration above you will determine what they want to put in there. So you need to know the framework that you get to have to work in the structure, because it could cost you a job. We had a kindergarten teacher help us, and the information that we shared and made set more successful after we got the information that teacher is no longer employed at the school. And we think it strongly ties into that. So you need to know how to tactfully share and advocate and argue for your student, advocate for them, but also know the boundaries that you have to work in to the best of your ability. Consultation is talking to others about what's going on to work together. So advocacy is you're fighting for somebody their right to help them get what they need to be successful. Consulting is talking and comparing notes and working together with others to help them be successful. Okay. So that is the adaptive physical activity model, PEPTICA. And I'll ask you to do an essay question explaining that, not just listing them and what each letter stands for, but what does each one mean, how do they work together, and so forth. So keep that in mind and contest date. We've already talked about efficacy on page 16, and I think I'm going to stop there because the rest of it ties together, then we'd run out of time. So thank you for coming back for the third part, and you'll see me again as we try to wrap this chapter up and give you what you need to understand. Have a good day.